Hi everyone. Okay, so this is the planetary aspects, alignments, the alignments, aspects, and the degrees. So for um, March 2025, mid month to the end of the month. So take a screenshot for your own reference, so you can match it to your birth chart, and to see if any of these degrees hit anything in your birth chart. And then I will not have an introduction this time around. I will be going into right away into each sign because you guys don't listen to the introduction. um, and it's just a waste of your time, I guess, and my time. But yeah, this time around, I'm not doing an introduction. So I am going to get straight into each sign, and we're going to begin with Aries. Hi, Aries. Okay, so we're starting with your sign, and this time around, what I'm going to be doing is um, explaining and concentrating on one, two, or three major aspects this week and next week, and elaborating more, as I have already discussed these aspects in your March scope. But as I mentioned in that scope or last week, is because there's so much going on, I wanted to break it up this way. Uh, and the other thing I wanted to note is um, when I mention dates, please don't get fixated on the dates. It is not about that day, that hour, that minute that these things happen, because what I'm going to be discussing are just major aspects that you may have felt even before me mentioning them now, or you may be feeling them during, but you will definitely it will definitely reverberate um, throughout the future. So you may be feeling it next week or so. Um, so try not to concentrate on the date. I'm just using dates for me because I'm going chronological, but try to focus more on what the aspects mean. Okay, and with that being said, of course, there's no intro, so let's jump right into it. And what I wanted to explain is early this week, we did have a Mercury retrograde in your sign that semi squared Uranus and Taurus. So it is about talking, discussion, calling, or thinking about how you want to be seen in relation to your job, income, or your value system. A semi square is a hard aspect. So here you're reviewing what you may have discussed, or what you were thinking of how you are seen as not uh, in relation to what you are now currently working or not working, or the income. It's not adding up for you. And think back to March 10th or 11th, I think there was a Venus semi square to Taurus. So at that time, you had a desire of how you wanted to be seen, um, that was not squaring up to your job or income. Now words are being spoken and things are being stirred up because it is Mercury. Mercury likes to stir things up. Um, all right. The other major thing that happens this week is the Sun will conjunct Neptune at the very critical 29th degree, the ending of Neptune's journey in Pisces. Now, Pisces is your 12th house of behind the scenes, of secrets, of the past, of taking care of someone, of confining spaces, of your faith and your spirituality. Okay. Now it is the sun, and a conjunction is a heavy duty aspect. So this conjunction can be a struggle for some of you, a struggle between the ethereal and the real, faith versus facts, your hopes and dreams versus sensibility, and that duality of choosing between these two things, which is difficult for many reasons. But one, because it is your 12th house, um, it is your hidden house. It is an ethereal house. And the second is because it really depends on where you are in life, is how you are going to be swayed of choosing. And I'll leave it at that. I'll be discussing more as I close up with a synopsis. But that's what that aspect means. Uh, Also, the next day, March 20th, the sun does enter Aries, your sign, and it is the spring equinox. This is the beginning of a brand new era. So every year the sun enters Aries at this time. And every year you review how you are seen, and you make adjustments as to reinventing yourself with whatever the outer planets are changing in the other areas of your life. So whatever issues or obstacles that you were dealing with, you reinvented yourself in aspect to those. But this year it's different. It's no ordinary spring. It's the birth of something very, very new. Um, and I think I mentioned in your March scope, it's like the long awaited uh, fiery desire um, of, I gave the example of Lion King's son Simba when he was born, and that monkey guru guy held him up into the sunlight, and all the animals, bowed down, and they broke out in tributary songs and what have you, because everybody was waiting for um, that golden child, that golden opportunity, that golden fiery opportunity. And it is really that era that we are entering, and it is all about Aries. Now, Aries is a fire sign. It is me first sign. It is ruled by Mars, the god of war. Aries is a pioneer. It's the trailblazer. Uh, you are a cardinal sign, and you go out in front of everyone and battle the demons and the beasts, and you make it safe for the rest of us peons to follow in a safe path behind you. And that's what this is about. And I know a lot of Aries are going to be like, oh, but that's not me. I'm not a fighter. Uh, I'm not a leader. I don't like that, and all that. And yes, I completely understand that, because you might have a very different moon sign or a rising sign, or your chart might be set up some other way. But it is about your essence, the essence of Aries. The essence of Aries is uh, is that fearless, powerful hero. I know it's been used ad nauseum about the compassionate hero, but you are a very compassionate sign, very fiery, and you fight for the underdog. And it has come to the position where there are a lot of underdogs that need this hero, and you are going to be representing that. Now, on a personal level, for you, and because your 11th house of groups, friends, and associations is highlighted, um, it is also the 11th house. Your Aquarius house is also about your hopes, visions of how you want to be seen amongst your peers, amongst your immediate world. So on a personal level, and you will be seen that way. You will be supported in that aspect. Okay, I think I won't beat a dead horse. I'll move on. Um, and then it's exemplified the very next day on March 21st, when Venus retrograde in your sign will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. And what this is highlighting is your hidden potential, your buried treasure, your power of being that trailblazer, of being that compassionate hero. Um, and it is being supported by a powerful friend or a group or an association. Okay, and this aspect happened back in the beginning of February, the sextile. At that time, a powerful person may have taken a liking to you, or um, highlighted you amongst others. And it is happening here again while Venus is retrograde. So you are reviewing how you want to be seen in relations to this prominent group. The other thing is Venus retrograde in your sign is Kazemi, and Kazemi simply means in the heart of the sun. And this has happened before when it was going direct, where the focus was on how you want to be seen. Um, Now the focus, the light, is um, shedding its rays on how you feel on the inside of how you want to be seen. All right. Um, we also do have this week last quarter moon in Capricorn, and this is pretty significant as well because it is the ending. It's highlighting an ending of a very drawn out process regarding your 10th house of career, your status, your reputation, and authority figures here. So you've had a very long journey in Capricorn. I'm not going to go over that, but you had a new moon in Capricorn at the end of December, New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, and you were either given or made aware of a new opportunity regarding your 10th house, or you planted the seeds of how you want to have your status be, or your reputation, or in regards to an authority figure. And here, with the last quarter moon, it is highlighting the efforts that you've borne through here. And this can be something of an equitable agreement between you and an authority figure, or between your career and your family. um, and what you have endured, what you have gone through, and what you are releasing or sacrificing. Because like I said, it's an equitable agreement, so both sides are sacrificing or releasing. Here is fair, and you know it's fair here. And whatever that sacrifice is, whatever the price you are paying, is a is equitable for this grand release, this grand relief. You may feel like how can I say it? Like nostalgic, like melancholy, maybe like your heart drops, some that type of a feeling, because it's the moon, it's a feeling. But um, and it is the moon. It's a fleeting aspect, just for the next couple of days, and don't let that feeling really distract you from a release of this relief. And you'll know what it is, because it is a huge relief after such a long embattled journey here. Okay, so that ends that week, and then the next week we start with uh, now the sun in your sign sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. It's the same thing. As I mentioned, it's a supportive aspect. It is highlighting again your image, and you are being supported through a group or friends or this powerful figure, or it is about your hidden potential. Remember, Pluto is about the underworld, the riches of the underworld. So gold and minerals, even seeds, are planted in the underworld, and then they sprout up and become strong trees. So this sun is highlighting something about your image, that will be supported through Pluto and Aquarius as it takes you down into your hidden potential. And it may be a power play. All right. The next thing next week is important, is Mercury retrograde in your sign, is Kazimi. So we had that, the sun, Venus retrograde in your sign Kazimi. Now it's Mercury. So it was focusing before on how you feel inside about your image. Now it's the thinking, rethinking things about how you want to be seen, rethinking about how you are seen. And for all other days that I say disregard the date, uh, with this aspect, uh, do regard the date, because it is a 1 day deal. So, so whatever is being discussed here, whatever message or call, um, grab it with intensity and urgency, because it only lasts a day. So pay attention to communications taking place here, because it's a marker. And like I mentioned in your March scope, you might even find something that has been lost here on this day, um, because it's Mercury retrograde, and Mercury is the trickster and sometimes hides things from us. In any case, the next most important aspect for next week is, mm, 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 did I mention that? No. Yes. Um, well, I'll highlight, yeah, the Mars in Cancer squaring Chiron in your sign. Uh, Chiron is the wounded healer, and I know people just say that, but it is about a past wound or hurt, um, and this has to do about your image. So whatever event in the past that caused you this wound, that seems inconsolable to you, may have had to do something about your home, your family, or your parents, or your roots, or your conditioning. Okay. Um, but what Chiron is he was the maverick. He was given the opportunity of either to live with this wound forever, or to, uh, pass away, and he chose to live with it. But what he chose to do was to teach others about that wound, about that hurt, and that's how he was able to live with that pain. That's how it was bearable. So what this is calling on Aries is knowing what you know uh, regarding your roots and your conditioning and your parents and your home and family, and this past wound um, about yourself, is if you take that initiative to teach others in a spiritual way, maybe it'll very much help you release that pain. The other thing is that Mars in Cancer, you might be, it can be as mundane as renovations to a house, or maybe taking care of parents. Maybe you're at that stage where you need to take care of parents, and it's Cancer. It might be a mother or a matriarchal figure, maybe even a mother-in-law, of some sort. Um, Again, that's stirring up this wound, this melancholy hurt regarding your image. Um, it can mean so many things, but it's a square, it's a tense aspect, um, but it triggers this wound, and the way to heal from it is to teach. And you can teach your family and or your parents about your inner wound, and that will help you. Okay. Uh, at this also this day is the moon enters Pisces, and Venus retrograde in your sign is at 00 degrees, just about to enter Pisces. So this brings in flood of emotion, again, of your past, and this Mars in Cancer squaring Chiron is what's triggering this, because the next day Venus in your sign will conjunct. Actually, I'm sorry, Venus in Pisces at 29 degrees conjuncts Neptune in Pisces at the very critical 29 degrees. And then on Friday, the moon, Venus retrograde, and Neptune and the North Node are all conjunct in Pisces at that very critical 29 degrees. Oh boy. Um, wow, wow, and wow. That's huge. And what's interesting is the moon right away enters your sign. Hmm. Um, okay, I stopped it because I had to rethink how to explain this. And I'm laughing because I haven't even touched on the partial solar eclipse in your sign. No matter how much I write it and rewrite it, it's still very difficult to explain. So let me try to take a stab at this. All right, all these planets um, conjuncting Neptune in Pisces at that very critical 29 degrees, and with Venus and Mercury retrograding back into Pisces, is signaling two things. One is that what we thought we left of that world back in February, um, and it was on solid footing, or maybe just a small issue that was there, um, has is crumbling, is um, is in wreckage, and and there's a compelling reason for us to go back, and because there is a need for us out of compassion, out of forgiveness, and again necessity, because this is a very important area, as it may be a partner or a parent or parents. It might be other family members. It might be our children, um, or somebody very, very special. That these people are needing this help, needing us to go back, needing you to slide back, and not necessarily fix it, because there's nothing to fix. That old structure, that old world has collapsed. It is being swept away by Neptune. But it is, maybe it is a component of that world that is worth saving, um, and and it is only when we are engulfed in it, our senses are surrounded by it, that we can understand others um, being at a level of needing help. And the second part is that, like I mentioned, especially with Venus, um, it is giving us a movie trailer of how these planets will all retrograde back into the previous signs the latter half of the year, and how we are going to be compelled to go back. So again, it might be a temporary situation where you need to go back. Sorry, but then that temporary situation is full blown at the end of the year, at the latter half of the year. And for those people who do not want to go back, who are like, please, no, don't take us back to this, or maybe a fear of getting stuck there. It is not that, Aries. It is not about getting stuck or going backwards, and especially with you, Aries. That's why your scope is going to be longer than the rest, is because you are ruled by Mars and you do not like going back. It is about going forward for you, but um, like I mentioned, it's a compelling reason, and it is a very important person or people in our lives that need in your life that need your help with this complete dissolution of this world, old world that has come about. So yeah, it's that movie trailer, because then um, when Mercury and Venus start going direct in Pisces, um, excuse me, is how then. Um, you will leave that world on good footing. So it's the analogy of going maybe one step back or two steps back to go one step forward again on solid footing. Because then, as Mercury and Venus enter your sign, you are back into this new world, and a feeling of that you cannot make yourself small again to fit this old world. There is no room for you and for others to be in this old world because that structure has collapsed. It's done. And if you want a clearer picture, you can see on what's happening in the news and the outer world, with the government closing um, certain government buildings that are bloated and unnecessary and a waste. Um, but you can also see them with going back on some of the employees that are necessary to hold up the structure. So that will play out in our lives as well, and especially with you. Uh, and you will, and when I say don't fear it, is because the universe is giving this backdoor, and this temporary situation to go back, um, to that out of compassion, um, for you, and out of forgiveness for you yourself and for others. All right, I'm not going to go too much more into that because that might confuse you, because I'm confused now. No, sorry, I'm laughing with you. But it is, after all, Pisces. It's very confusing. Now, as I mentioned, um, also on Friday, the moon enters Aries. And the moon in this case, again, is significant. That's why I'm mentioning it, because the very next day, it is a new moon partial solar eclipse in your sign. And that is also very huge. It is a new opportunity of how you are seen, in regards to your image, and it is semi-squaring Uranus and Taurus. So it's not only a new opportunity regarding your image; it is in relation to a job, your income, and your value system. So eclipse again are unfolding stories, and an eclipse is a movie trailer of how it will unfold in the next few months. So this new opportunity is, you're being aware of it. It's like, because it's Uranus is in the mix as well. It might have been in the background playing out, and you might have not paid attention to it because of all these things that were going on. And how I see it is, it's going to be like a surprise. Like, it's you're engulfed in all this going back and trying to stop the flood, and then a knock on your door about this new opportunity, and you might be like, oh, wait. um, but again, don't worry, because it is an unfolding opportunity that will culminate in a few months, and you will be able to take advantage of that. And then Mercury conjuncts Neptune in Pisces. Oh, wow, Mercury, nice of you to finally show up. You're late to the party. uh, I'm joking. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the very next day. So, yeah, also thinking, discussion about going back, even if it's temporary, like I mentioned. And then the next day, this infamous Neptune will enter your sign at 00. And that vision, um, of how you want to be seen and how you are seen will start. This new world will start. Okay, I am going to leave it there. I am probably going to do a standalone video on the new moon's partial solar eclipse in your sign next week, because I haven't done it justice maybe here. So look for that. And again, if you're confused about what I said, you can throw your questions in the comments, and especially with you regarding dreams. If you have any dreams that you want interpreted, I do that as well. So you can throw those in the comments. All right, Aries. Oh, see how I am? I almost forgot. Um, I wanted just to mention one thing uh, regarding this week that may be important to you. So this week, pay attention to your image and how you are seen, especially online, and especially after, like, beginning the 21st, like the end of the week, maybe Thursday, Friday, and so on. Whatever you post online, just be very careful, because, like I mentioned, Venus retrograde in your sign is sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. It is supportive, but it is Pluto. And I don't know, I don't trust Pluto. Oh, Pluto, please don't strike me down. uh, but yeah, no, just to be on the safe side, just be careful of what you portray online, what you say online. Okay, be cautious about that. about your image. And this week also hints to your fourth house of home, family, and parents. Uh, Maybe a move or a change or an upgrade, or again, maybe about taking care about parents or something like that. This week hints to what may come about starting July. And the housing market as well is going to significantly change starting in July, August. So, huge opportunities for you, Aries, regarding your home and your family, your physical home as well. um, Also, the other thing to take notice of this week is something about your job, your income, because, like I mentioned, um, Uranus in Taurus is being aspected with Mercury being in your sign. So this is actually cluing you in to um, to the end of May, June. It's pointing to that day, that date. This week and next gives you some clues. Why I say next week is also because Neptune and Pisces. Oddly enough, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but at the risk of being repetitive, Neptune and Pisces are about money, about finances as well. So, and you will see that play out in the global and the national market with our economies, and it will affect us personally. Uh, so just be careful and have backup plans. And my disclosure is that I am not a financial advisor, and this video certainly is not giving you any financial advice. This video is for the purposes of entertainment only and for novel information uh, regarding astrology. Uh, so I just want to cover myself on that aspect. But yes, you there will be something about finances. So just have backup plans. All right, Aries, that will be it. I will talk to you soon. Hi, Taurus. All right, Taurus. Uh, Aries was pretty long because Aries is the star of the show with all these changes happening, all these planets in Aries and Pisces. So yours will probably be shorter. And what I'm doing here is I'm going over this week and next week and only pointing out the major aspects to look out for. And with that being said, I will mention dates, but please don't get fixated on the dates because it is not about that day, that hour, that minute. These are major aspects. You might have even felt them already, or you might feel them for a few days, the whole week, and definitely they will reverberate in the future. So try concentrating more on what the aspects are rather than the date. Uh, and then at the end, I'll just give you a short summary of what it could all mean. All right, so early this week, we did have Mercury retrograde in Aries, semi squaring Uranus in your sign. So, Aries is your 12th house of behind the scenes, of secrets, of the past, of taking care of someone, of confining spaces, of your faith and your spirituality. And you, there was a discussion. You might have had this discussion before, and you were reviewing it here. Uh, but it square is a tense aspect. So with it squaring Uranus in your sign, you might have been surprised or taken aback uh, regarding how you are seen with whatever discussion that was about the past. Uh, Excuse me, my sinuses are acting up. All right, the next most important thing is the Sun conjuncting Neptune at the very critical 29 degrees. So this, and it's in Pisces. So Pisces is your 11th house of friends, groups, associations, memberships of any kind, but it is also your hopes and visions of how you want to be seen amongst these groups or in the um, wider arena rather than your closest circle. And it can have to do with whatever discussion that surprised you earlier in the week, uh, as it is some type of a struggle with faith versus facts, the ethereal versus the real, hopes and dreams versus sensibility. So, and it is at that very critical 29 degrees. So it's do I hang on to that last string of hope, or do I just chalk it away and do the sensible thing? And really, nobody can make that decision except you, because you're the one who's engulfed in this. But that's what that aspect means. Then we have on the 20th, Sun enters Aries, and it is the spring equinox. Same day, Venus will station retrograde in Aries. Uh, Again, this is your 12th house. So this is a brand new beginning, Taurus. And it is not just any old brand new beginning or reinventing this area of your life. As It is heralding actually a new era, a new way of looking at your 12th house. It is the very long awaited uh, release and birth of how you see your 12th house in relation to the other areas of your life. Okay. Venus stationing retrograde, pay attention to these few days as you might get a sneak peek behind the veil of how this retrograde will work out, as well as it is the desire of how you want your 12th house to be seen, or how you want it to be, how you want to feel about your 12th house. So you are going to be reviewing with this retrograde. And then we do have Venus retrograde in Aries sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. So again, something new about your 12th house that will be supported regarding your Aquarius related house. And your Aquarius house is your 10th house of career, status, your reputation, and authority figures. And then it is Pluto. So there is some untapped potential here. Okay. And that potential is somewhere hidden in your 12th house. So it is taking you deep inside your psyche, but reinventing it to something new so that you can apply it to your career and status. And we do have Venus retrograde in Aries, Kazemi. Kazemi simply means in the heart of the sun. So now with Venus retrograde in Aries, and you had these new ideas of how to reclaim this um, hidden house in a new way. But the focus here is on how you feel inside about the 12th house. The sun is shining a light on this. Also, this day we do have a last quarter moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is your ninth house of higher education, foreigners, long distance travel, publication, philosophy, and the World Wide Web. And I won't go through the whole, you're a total expert in this area right now after your 18 long years in this with Pluto and Capricorn. But now this is harking back to the new moon on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So a new opportunity or the seeding of something regarding your ninth house. It is a long-standing matter that here with the last quarter moon, it's the next step to the ending or the culmination, uh, fruition of your past efforts here. And this is signaling, Taurus, is an equitable, um, fair, sorry, settlement for either side if there was an issue here. Um, and what is involved, because it's been such a long arduous task to get to this point, what is involved is both sides having to sacrifice something, so your side and the other side. And uh, even though you might feel like, I don't know, like melancholy about it, but it is a small price to pay for this release, for this relief as well. And and you will feel very exhilarated when this is settled. And then we have the Sun in Aries sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. Again, same thing. It's highlighting something about your 12th house that is beginning a new dawning, a new age, um, which will be supported with something about your career and your status. All right. How you how you see your 12th house or the past is being supported by the status upgrade, by your career, by an authority figure. And there is powerful potential here, Taurus, that you can draw upon because it is Pluto. And Pluto rules the riches of the underworld. So, gold and minerals, even the seeds that we plant and they sprout up. I think I already mentioned this, but just in case I didn't. And then we have Mercury retrograde in Aries that will be Kazemi. Again, you are rediscussing, rethinking about innovative ideas regarding your alone time. All right, we're on to we're getting into next week, and next week, the most important really aspect is. Did I mention that? I just want to make sure I mentioned. Okay, I did. So the next week, the two important aspects beginning in the week is Mercury retrograde in Aries will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. I did mention. Uh, well, that was the Sun and then Venus. So now, rethinking, rediscussing again about something, a new idea about your alone time that is being Kazimid. And the only day that I do want you to pay attention to the date is this date here on March 24th, because it is a one day type of a deal. Um, so you will get like a boost of energy here, a message or a thought. So pay attention to that. And if it does call for you to answer, maybe a text or a message or a call, do that, because it lasts only for a day. And then Chiron. Well, I'll mention that on the next day because it is exact the next day. And that's not important. Okay, so Mars in Cancer will square Chiron in Aries. And it is exact here. So Cancer is your third house of communication devices, commuting, your siblings, cousins, extended family, social media, language, and vision. Your need to be heard. And you have been also busy in this area back from October, November. And this is a square. So this is a hard aspect. And it is regarding a wound or a hurt regarding your 12th hidden house or your past. And Cancer also rules the family and the mother. So this, whatever's going on with maybe siblings or cousins, whatever dialogue is going on as well, and it can include family, is triggering this wound that you have in the past. But Chiron also was the maverick in teaching about his hurt or his wound that actually helped relieve that. So the square aspect is jumpstarting some kind of a conversation between these two houses, and taking advantage of that will jumpstart this. It will trigger this healing aspect if you can explain where the hurt is and how you got it and what's involved, because Cancer is a very sensitive sign, and water and earth mix really well. They solidify. So think about that. And then Venus will station retrograde in Aries. So again, these next few days, pay attention. When planets station retrograde or direct, we do get like a sneak peek of what's going on, as well as the moon enters Pisces. Um, and then the next day, Venus conjuncts Neptune in Pisces. Then on Friday, we have the moon, Venus, and Neptune are all conjunct in Pisces at that very critical 29 degrees. And then the moon, very interestingly enough, enters Aries. This is huge. Okay, so what this is signaling, Taurus, is going back to something in the past, and for you especially, it has to do with something about your past and something about friends and groups. There is something there that is calling for your attention. You are needed, because you're needed in regards to maybe a friend or friends or groups, because there is a structure collapse. There is a the old world being swept away, and these friends or this group is needing help somehow. And whatever expertise you have regarding the past, because moon is in Aries, you are called upon, and it is at that critical 29th degree. um, okay, I'll go on because I've got a little bit more to say about this. So this moon, when it enters Aries, it will be a new moon partial solar eclipse in Aries the next day, and it will again semi-square your sign, Uranus in your sign. So this is a new opportunity that is coming by surprise, that might have been in the background, but you might have not been aware of it, and it is at your front door knocking, um, for you to take advantage of it. And don't worry, because you are so busy with all this stuff going on in the background with Pisces and all that. Don't worry that it's a missed opportunity, because eclipses are an unfolding story that will happen in the next 3 to 6 months, and this is a new opportunity. This is not something of an ending. Okay, and it might have to do with creativity and faith, maybe, or working diligently behind the scenes, or wanting your alone time to be creative in somehow, because it is also about money and finances. um, because it's you do rule the second house of job, income, and the value system. And then Mercury retrograde is conjuncting Neptune in Pisces. So yeah, there's talk and thinking about going back to this old world that's dissolving in order to save something. Not necessarily save the old world, but save something in regards to a friend. I think that's what it's highlighting here. Taurus, and then on the 30th, Neptune enters Aries, and there's this vision of how you want your alone time to be. It will be like an escape for you, a very dreamy escape. And the moon enters Taurus. Taurus, what this is about for you is it's people politics. All right. Um, and how to navigate that, especially with Pluto being in Aquarius. I mean, I know Aquarius is your 10th house of career, but Aquarius also rules groups and friends or memberships of some kind. Uh, so, doing some moves with Pluto and Aquarius, doing some aspects these next 2 weeks, it's about authority figures and having to navigate with respect of the power they wield, and again, with how you communicate with them. It's the atmosphere is politically charged, as they say, and as we can see in the outer world with the news and with our own government. But it is also on a personal level for you. Like I said, it is about people politics. Whether it is your partner or in-laws or your parents or siblings or friends or cousins or even neighbors, it is politically charged. And having a winning or a losing opinion is not really the point. Um, it is about pure discipline because Pluto, you need to be still, okay, and in order um, to have this some kind of a power, and pure discipline uh, is in controlling the way you maybe talk back, um, because with Pluto there's something to learn, and not about knowing it all. Even if you do know it all, even if you are an expert in your career or your unpaid work, even if you do know that, but you need to acquiesce because there's something here for you to learn. And remember, like I mentioned, parents and partners can be authority figures as well. Um, and you can actually draw upon your Virgo related house because something is ending in your Virgo related house, as I explained uh, last week's scope. Um, so you can draw on some type of creativity, of a new way of being creative, and use that empty space to draw on your creativity to form something here, because there will be opportunities regarding your alone time, uh, but not in competition of it. Okay, I'm not really too worried about it because you do have Jupiter, which is supporting your second house of income and your value system. But your 10th house is on a much bigger scale than your second house. It is about your reputation and your status too. So even though I'm mentioning your career and your status, um, I'm not really worried about your job. This is on a bigger scale, and there's authority figures here, and Pluto's involved. So it is what it is. Like what I'm mentioning. It is about people politics and navigating that communication with respect to this power that is being displayed, not in combating, not in butting heads. Uh, it's about being humble. Pluto destroys any kind of confidence because there's something else that is much richer and much deeper behind that confidence that Pluto wants you to tap into. Uh, but definitely watch for this for the end of the month as all these planets retrograde back into Pisces. It is about going back to something, and it is giving you like a movie trailer of how the latter half of the year will play out, as all the planets will be retrograding back into the old signs except for Jupiter. Um, and what I'm just going over my notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And this Mars in Cancer that's squaring Chiron, and yeah, and again, it is all about all these people around you and navigating all this, about how you talk to people, about how you respect their views. I'm not saying be a pushover. I'm just saying you are needed in a compassionate way, and with compassion, it is about more about listening, Taurus, rather than um, expressing your views. And with higher education being highlighted here, but you being an expert in, draw on that as well, on anything that has to do with higher education for foreigners. All right, Taurus, that's really all that I had to say about this. And you are starting to, with Virgo, with that eclipse, you are starting hopefully to find a new creative way to have fun. You are between eclipses, so the weird stuff happens between eclipses. And when I say weird, I'm doing it in quotations, which means synchronicity, the weird things out of the blue that happen. Pay attention to those, because those give you a clue. We are between eclipses. And I will probably do a standalone video on this new partial solar eclipse that's happening in Aries, uh, maybe next week before your April forecast. Also, dreams are going to be huge here with the ending of Neptune in Pisces, and with all these planets going into Pisces. So I do interpret dreams. If you want, if you have a dream that you're puzzled about, you can leave it in the comments, and I answer all the questions. And I love interpreting dreams. Other than that, I will be talking to you soon in next week's scope, probably about the eclipse. Take care of yourselves. Hi there, Gemini. Okay, so you're up next. And what I'm doing with this scope is I don't have an introduction. I'm going straight into your sign and discussing the few main aspects this week and next week, um, delving a little bit more deeper in that, or maybe reminding you of it, because I have discussed these aspects in your March scope. But because there's so much going on this month, I decided to do it this way, to break it up this way, um, and then hopefully remind you of what's going on. Because we also do have the eclipses and this huge change that's coming up at the end of the month. So the other thing I wanted to note is I will be mentioning dates, but please don't fixate on the dates. It is not about that day, that hour, that minute that aspect is happening. These are huge, major aspects. So you could have even felt them last week, or you'll feel them throughout the whole week. And definitely you'll be feeling it in the future as they will reverberate. And we have a couple of planets retrograde. So yeah, I'll be mentioning dates, but try to have your focus more on what the aspects mean. And then at the end of the scope, I'll just give you a short summary if I don't go too much into detail. All right, so this week starts off with Mercury retrograde in Aries that semi squares Uranus and Taurus. Aries is all about your groups, friends, your associations, your memberships, and it is also the house of your hopes, visions, and dreams of the future, of how you want to be seen among friends and groups. And Taurus is your 12th house of the past, of secrets, of confining spaces, your psyche, your faith, your religion, your spirituality, and taking care of someone. So that's all about that. And this square is a hard aspect. So there is something, talk, discussion, or rethinking, rediscussing, something about friends and groups that maybe you want to join. It looks like um, that is you're having a hard aspect in regards to your 12th hidden house, or the house of the past. So, and also Taurus rules the second house of money, value system. So maybe just be careful with joining friends or making a friend a business partner of some sort, um, because we have some aspects to Pluto, and you just don't have all the information, especially with Mercury going retrograde. Um, the next important aspect comes towards on March 19th. Again, don't worry too much about the date. Is the Sun conjuncting Neptune at that critical 29 degrees of Pisces. And what this is it's a struggle. It's this conjunction is um, a struggle between faith and facts, hopes, dreams and sensibility, the ethereal and the real, and making a decision of some sort here. Do you pursue your hopes and dreams, or do you throw it away and be sensible? Do you have faith even in the face of facts? That's what this is about. And Pisces is your 10th house of career, status, reputation, and authority figures. And status is married, not married, single, not single. Um, it's a status symbol. Okay. And you've had a long 14-year journey here. And when it's hitting at this 29 degree, it's just coming to the 11th hour of either going on with some kind of faith, or again, chalking it up and being sensible. And it's a personal decision, and it's dependent on where you are in life, really. The next day, the sun will enter Aries, and that is the spring equinox. So this is a very important spring equinox. It is like none other. It is entering a brand new era, because every year the sun enters Aries around this time, but this year especially, um, it is a very fresh new spring, going into a very fresh new era. Again, it is about your groups and friends and associations, and it is shining a light here. Now, on the same day, Venus will station retrograde in Aries. So this is what I meant about just being a little bit more careful about this group or this friend or friends, and not making any permanent life altering decisions here, because there's a purpose for Venus retrograding here. You do not have all the information. So, this desire that you have regarding groups and friends is all well and good, but let the retrograde play out and see what you discover. And then we have um, Venus retrograde in Aries that will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. Uh, and this is what I meant with Pluto aspecting this area of your life. It can be a power play, or it can be something that is hidden from you. And it might be something powerful. Pluto is about power and control and power plays. Um, yeah, so watch the retrograde and see what comes up regarding groups and friends. Now, uh, after that, we have Venus retrograde in Aries Kazemi. And Kazemi simply means in the heart of the sun. So, this desire regarding groups and friends is highlighted by the sun regarding how you feel inside about that desire, um, and about reviewing it. The focus is on how you feel inside. Mm. And it might be about an authority figure amongst these friends, amongst this group that's maybe being overshadowed somehow, but the focus is on how you feel. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is we do have a last quarter moon in Capricorn. And Capricorn is your eighth house of joint finances, intimacy, secrets, the taboo, taxes, government benefits, loans, credit, inheritance as well. It covers the eighth house. And you've had a long journey here. I've discussed it at length, so I won't bother you with those details again. But what this last quarter moon is the second stage next to an ending. And it has to do with the new moon in Capricorn that you experienced on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. That was a new opportunity, or you seeded something regarding your eighth house of joint finances. And it has been a tedious process, a long, drawn out, maybe negotiations, um, a lot of efforts being born through here, and it is, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, as there is going to be some kind of an equitable agreement from two sides. It might be yours and the other. It might be your partners and you versus others. But what it is um, sacrificing on both sides to come to this agreement, and the agreement is signed. Uh, and again, the sacrifice that both sides are making uh, might seem significant, but it's a small price to pay for freedom, for relief, and it might be like a disquiet feeling, uh, something of like your a pit of your stomach. You feel like but but that's just a fleeting feeling. It is the moon, because the end of it is freedom, free, relief. So don't get discouraged with that melancholy feeling. Um, Again, on after that we have the Sun in Aries. Again, your groups and friends. Oh, that is sextile in Pluto in Aquarius. Um, and a sextile is a positive aspect. It is a supportive aspect. But again, it's Pluto. Um, Pluto rules the underworld and underhanded plays, control issues, power plays, and our hidden potential in here, our untapped potential. So you have a lot of experience with groups and friends, and friends for you almost feel like family. So you might be like, this group or this friend is checking all the boxes, and the urge to jump into this is quite powerful. But again, Venus and both Mercury are retrograde here. Give yourself a little more time. Um, and then we have Mercury retrograde in Aries, Kazimi. Uh, with all other aspects, I said don't pay attention to the date, but with this one, do pay attention to this date, because it is a 1 day type of a deal. So the intensity of rethinking, rediscussing things about friends and groups here is something that is hidden from you, is being revealed. Or it can be something mundane as finding something that you've lost. All right. Uh, then we're into next week. And next week we have now this time Mercury retrograde in Aries, sextiling Pluto and Aquarius. So before it was Venus. Let me just make sure. Yeah. It was the desire within. Now it's the talk. It's the thinking, but it's you've done this talking before, and now you are re-talking, re-agreeing, or rethinking something about friends and how that supports your ninth house of foreigners, long distance travel, higher education, publishing, and the World Wide Web and philosophy. And Aquarius is a future oriented sign, and natally does rule the house of groups and friends. So this is a double whammy here for you. Even though, like I said, sextile is a supportive aspect, but there's something about power plays. Maybe you're being attracted to a powerful group or a friend. Okay, maybe you're eyeing that. Your eye is on that power. Um, so that could relate that in that way. Uh, am I going to discuss that one? Yeah. Let me see. Let me see. No, it's more exact on the other date. Okay, so next week, midweek, we have Venus retrograde in Aries at 00 degrees, about to back into Pisces, as well as the moon enters Pisces. And then on Thursday, Venus will conjunct Neptune in Pisces at that very critical 29 degrees. Pisces, again, is your 10th house of career and status. Um, so we have the moon, Venus retrograde, and Neptune and the North Node are all conjunct in Pisces at that very critical 29th degrees. And Mercury the next day will join the party. uh, so, what this is very, very important, let alone all these planets in Pisces, but of course, that critical 29th degree. Um, and again, this can be very dreamy, very romantic, uh, a longing, a desire regarding your career and status. Um, um, of this longing that you have. And Neptune is obliging, but it is coming full circle here at the ending. And but what this is also about is two things: is one, we are being given an opportunity to go back into the past. So you are being given an opportunity to go back to something in the past regarding your career and status that you know will not work out, or you know that it will be cumbersome in some way. However, we are being compelled to, and the universe is giving us this back door to go into, because there is something there that needs our attention. It is likening it to the collapse of the old world, of the old structures. It's being swept away, and there's something there that needs our help, that needs our attention. Um, it's like, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We don't want to do that. There is something very important here, and sometimes we do have to step back to go forward. Now, um, of course, this can also be complete confusion about an illusion or about our visions, or it can be relate to being embattled, being on the edge of a slippery slope. But again, there is a compelling reason uh, to go back. And Venus will retrograde back into Pisces and conjunct Neptune. Well, it's happening here. Sorry. So yeah, you feel like going back to what you knew, something that was something that's being nostalgic for you, and you need to be immersed back into that to find some compassion, forgiveness for yourself and others. And as then Mercury and Venus will go direct in Pisces, about to go direct into Aries, you'll realize that this is the old world that you do not fit in anymore. You cannot make yourself small again here. There is no more sacrifice to be sacrificed here, and that's how that ends as you release it and you go into the future. The other thing is that again, this is a movie trailer of how the latter half of the year will play out, as all these planets will be retrograding back in the previous signs. Um, uh, and again, it is not about going back and getting stuck. There's nothing to go back to. The world has changed, um, but there is something there that we have to immerse ourselves in. All right. And then we do have, just as that happens, the moon enters Aries, and the next day we have a new moon partial solar eclipse in Aries. So there is a new opportunity regarding your friends and groups. And it's an eclipse. So this is a story that will be unfolding in the next few months, 3 to 6 months. And this new opportunity will snowball into something really big. Again, it's about your friends and your groups and associations, and it is doing a semi square to Uranus and Taurus. So, again, bringing something up regarding your past and regarding maybe money or value system. Okay, and the other aspect I wanted to mention was Mars in Cancer will square Chiron in Aries. This is about your money house. Um, that is also something to do with family, and it's Cancer, so it. Sorry, that's my pug. I don't know what he sensed because it's like almost midnight, so I don't know what he's barking at. All right. Yeah, sorry. I had to stop it. So, yes, we were on Mars in Cancer squaring Chiron and Aries. And Cancer is your money house, your job, income, your value system. And there, and you started something here back in October, and you've been going back and forth um, with something about that. Cancer also natally rules the home and family, um, parents, and especially a mother figure or a matriarchal female here. Um, and it is causing a tense aspect, bringing up an old wound or a hurt regarding your friends and your groups, maybe about a past friend. Excuse me. So there is, maybe it is about a friend from the past that's come up here because it's Venus retrograde, or maybe this new friend or group is a reminder, some kind of a reminder of the past, because it's there's Taurus in here, and then this old wound, this old hurt, and your family and money house is all involved. But this new moon partial solar eclipse is coming at you like in a surprising way, okay? Because it is Uranus. It is something that has been brewing in the background, but all of a sudden it's like at your doorstep here, um, waiting for an answer. And again, don't worry because it is not a use it or lose it. This is an eclipse. It's an unfolding story, like I mentioned. It will manifest in the next few months, and this would be again something of a movie trailer of what will play out in these next few months. And then the next day, excuse me, uh, Neptune enters Aries, and then the show begins regarding idealism, a vision, a longing. a very dreamy escape about a friend or friends or groups or associations. And Aries also rules the first house of image. So there's something about maybe your image being uplifted by hooking up with these friends or these groups. But just um, again, be careful of any illusions here. Um, but again, Neptune will retrograde back into Pisces. So this is these few months is just a sneak peek of how next year will start with friends and groups. And Saturn is coming in at the end of May to put up any boundaries um, and to give you an anchor so that you are not swept away with this group or with this friend. Okay, and then that ends the month, Gemini. But there is some type of a move for you, a big move. I didn't hit on that too much, but that is Aquarius, or it can be about higher education. And you are being tested in this area because it has to do also this aspecting Aries. So might be a friend at a distance or some kind of camaraderie. Maybe it's about higher education and being part of that group. All right. In any case, if you have any questions or you're confused about something, go ahead and throw it in the comments. I do answer all the questions as well. Your dreams might be vivid around this time because it is Neptune's release of Pisces and then all these planets going back into Pisces. So I do also interpret dreams. If you want to put that, I'll be more than happy and actually excited to interpret some dreams. And next week, I may and most likely do a standalone video on the solar eclipse in Aries, the new moon partial solar eclipse, because I may not have done it justice. And remember, we are between eclipse. We just had that total lunar eclipse, an ending in Virgo that will play out, and that's your home and family. And then now, at the end of the month, we have the new moon partial solar eclipse. So in between eclipses is kind of a weird time. Things happen that are idiosyncratic. So pay attention to those things also if they happen. Um, and that is it, Gemini. I will be talking to you next week. Hi, Cancer. Okay, what I'm doing this week is highlighting a couple to a few major aspects this week and next week. Excuse me, because I have already discussed them in your March scope, but I decided to break it up this way with a mid month to end of the month because there is so much going on. And hopefully, maybe this is just a reminder, or maybe I'll give you some information that I might have not discussed, and it just helps you through because there's, excuse me, some major shifts going on in these last 2 weeks. And sorry, the other thing I wanted to note is that please do not be fixated on the dates, as it is not about this day, hour, minute, this aspect is happening. When I'm not discussing the moon, I'm discussing these major life changing aspects. So you might have even felt them way before or all throughout this week and next week, and definitely in the future, as we do have um, two planets retrograde as well. So again, try to focus more on the aspects. And with that, I did not have an introduction, only the planetary chart in the very beginning, and you can certainly um, rewind back to that and take a screenshot and compare it to your natal chart, to your birth chart. Excuse me. All right, so this week so sorry, we had an aspect between Mercury retrograde in Aries that semi-squared Uranus in Taurus. Now, Aries for you is your 10th house of career, status, reputation, and authority figures. Sorry. Um, and Aries also rules image. It's the me first sign. So something about image is also involved here. And Taurus is your 11th house of groups, friends, associations, memberships of any sort. The 11th house is also your hopes, visions, and dreams of how you want to be seen in amongst those friends and groups in the outer parameter of your personal life. So with this aspect, sorry, and then Taurus also natally rules the second house of job, income, and value system. Um, so what this is rethinking, rediscussing, um, maybe renegotiating something, maybe with an authority figure, and but about your status, about your maybe reputation. It can be for some of you uh, discussing maybe a separation or a divorce, or it can be about joining maybe an engagement or a marriage or a steady partnership, or it could be about business because there's money here involved as well. Okay, but it is a tense aspect, and it does jumpstart this rethinking, this renegotiating, and again, it's about money and friends. I have a little bit more to say on that, but I'll say it towards the end. Also, the next important aspect I wanted to discuss is March 19th, Wednesday. Again, don't fixate on the date, but the Sun does conjunct Neptune at that very critical 29 degrees. So this is highlighting it's the Sun, but the conjunction with the Sun is a tense aspect where it's translating to some kind of a struggle between holding on or letting go. And Pisces is your ninth house of higher education, foreigners, long distance travel, philosophy, publishing, and the World Wide Web. So you have you have a vision, a longing. You've had that journey with Neptune through your ninth house, uh, and it is really dependent on where you are in life. If you're going to hang on to that critical 29th degree, that 11th hour of hope, of that string that's left, or if you're going to chalk it up and be sensible. It is translating into that type of a struggle between pursuing your vision, your wishes here, or being, being sensible. Um, it is about having faith in the face of facts. And like I said, this is a personal decision here because Neptune at the 29th degree is definitely heralding the end. And then the next day, we have the Sun entering Aries. Again, Aries is your 10th house of career and status. And you have been busy regarding your career and status and authority figures with Mercury there, with Venus there. And now the Sun enters. And it is the spring equinox. So there is this fresh, invigorating, new beginning regarding your career and status. But it is like none other. It is the dawning of a new era regarding your career and status. Uh, because every year the Sun enters Aries around this time, and it comes up for check. Your career and status comes up for a check here, and you reinvent it in some sort of way in regards to whatever the outer planets are affecting other areas of your life. So you refocus something here and reinvent something as it is this spring. But in this instance, it is a brand new reinvention, a much awaited, anticipated, fiery anticipation of your career and status that will be started in earnest. Excuse me. And it's a hopeful one, a very hopeful one. Now, on the same day, Venus does station retrograde in Aries, though. So pay attention to when planets station retrograde or direct, as you do sometimes get a sneak peek. The veil is lifted, and you can get a sneak peek of what this retrograde is about. But what this retrograde is about is your desire regarding your career and status. Here, you will start reviewing things. And with a Venus retrograde, just be careful with making any permanent life altering decisions as you are in review mode and you do not have all the information. When it goes direct, then you can make those permanent um, changes. But yeah, as you step into the spring equinox and you're very hopeful about this brand new beginning, there's some tweaks that need to be made with Venus. And Venus retrograde also does bring people or things back from the past. So look out for that. Uh, the other thing is Venus retrograde, obviously, sorry about that. And that's my pug snoring. Um, so obviously, Venus direct attracts love, fortune, and fame. And when it is retrograde, it can withdraw that. or sometimes even, it can bring more of that. But with a retrograde, assuming it's the negative side of Venus, then this also gives you a movie trailer of sorts of how when Saturn enters Aries, and any obstacles or issues or boundary lines that you may struggle with, it will highlight here. Okay. The other thing is that Venus retrograde in Aries will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. And a sextile is a nice aspect. It is a supportive aspect, and it is coming through from your Aquarius related house, which is your eighth house of joint finances, intimacy, inheritance, taxes, credits, loans, government benefits, the taboo, and secrets. Um, where was I? Sorry. Oh, there I am. Uh, and Pluto is the god of the underworld. He also rules over riches of the underworld. So think of gold and minerals, or even the seeds that we plant in the underworld that sprout and grow into strong trees. Um, so it is about untapped potential regarding your eighth house here. And your 10th house of career and status is being supported here. The only thing is because it's Pluto, um, just be careful with any deception, any control issues, or any power plays regarding this. And for you, Cancer, um, it might also be that you are um, maybe apprehensive or fearful about an ending, or it could be God forbid, death. And it can be allegorical because Pluto is rules the death and rebirth, but there is a fear. Pluto also rules fear, so there's some kind of a fear here. um, and it really depends on each Cancer and what your moon sign is, what your rising sign is. But again, uh, there is some sort of a supportive aspect towards your career and status. What you fear is where your power is here. All right, I'm not going to be the dead horse. Let's move on to Venus retrograde in Aries. That will be Kazimi. And Kazimi simply means in the heart of the sun. So you've had this aspect before, um, but now and that was your desire in regards to your career and status. Now the light is illuminating your inner desire, something hidden from the outworld regarding your career and status. It might be about an authority figure that is being known, but again, the focus is on you who is in the background and regarding your inner desire. Also, here we do have the last quarter moon in Capricorn. And I said I won't be discussing the moon, but in this case, and in another case, it's important to discuss as it is a last quarter moon. So this is the uh, next to the last stage. It is um, showing you the ending, okay, of what you started with as far as a new opportunity or the seeding of something new on the new Capricorn moon on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day back then. Uh, whatever opportunity you had regarding a partnership or what you seeded then, it is now one stage before the ending, before the culmination of that. So this is also because we also had a lot of Capricorn activity in January. Um, it is about a drawn out issue that has taken up a lot of your effort, your time, your energy um, uh, to reach some kind of a settlement, to reach some kind of an equitable settlement with with its only business type of feelings, not really any anonymity, because both sides here are agreeing to sacrifice something in order to gain something. And what you're gaining is some kind of a freedom. Um, it's like a small price to pay for a relief of some sort, a release of some sort after this long, arduous process. Um, and you may feel this melancholy um, because it is Capricorn. It is a very sombering truth, but it is the moon. It is just a couple of days. It's a fleeting feeling, but it is also um, so don't let that distract you from this feeling of being free. Now, it can be about a separation or a divorce, or it can also be the opposite, where it's an engagement or a marriage. And you may say, well, how can it be freeing? Well, it's freeing from going from being engaged to married. You're freeing your single self, and the price you're paying is that freedom, but you're gaining something that's stable with a partnership, or it might be a business partnership. Okay. Um, that actually works out really well in this scenario. But yeah, it's the last quarter moon, and I did want to mention that. Now, um, the beginning of next week, this time the Sun in Aries will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. Uh, so now the focus of the Sun is on your career and your status and your reputation, and among them authority figures. So it is the Sun illuminating this area for you to see, as well as others to see, and whatever power there is here, it is again being supported by Pluto in Aquarius. And it can be either untapped potential, um, some hidden resource, either within your 10th house of career and status, or let me just, I'm sorry, I'm just checking my notes. Yeah, untapped potential, either regarding your career or status, or something about joint finances or joining of things, or inheritance, maybe, or how other people value you, because the eighth house is the house of where you benefit from other people's money, as well as reputation, how other people hold you in esteem. Okay, but it can be about power play or control issues as well. Now, on the 24th, Mercury, this time retrograde in Aries, will be Kazimi. So it's catching up with Venus. So it was Venus Kazimi, and that was retrograde. So it was your inner desires. Now it is your thinking, uh, or rethinking, rediscussing your desires of how you want to be seen, in as far as your career, your reputation, and your status. Uh, and then we have the next important aspect is um, Mercury retrograde in Aries, sorry, sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. Sorry about that. So first we had Venus retrograde, then we had the Sun, and now it's, or did I mention this already? I'm sorry, wait. Sun. Yeah, I didn't mention it. So now it is the talk, the discussion, the rethinking, renegotiating regarding your Aries related house, but it is again being supported or sextiling Pluto in Aquarius, again untapped potential. Um, Maybe a struggle in communicating something about your career and status, but you have this, either this untapped potential that Pluto in Aquarius is affording you, or um, there is a powerful authority figure that is supporting you in some way. Uh, the moon, no, I'm not going to discuss the moon. The only thing I'll discuss about this, because it's important to you, because this is an ongoing story, is the moon in Aquarius. So feelings regarding joint finances or intimacy, again, or the past, um, or about how others value you, or and in this situation, as it trines Jupiter in Gemini, and Gemini is about your past, um, is about taking care of someone, about a secret. But Gemini also natally rules siblings and cousins. And I know for a lot of cancers, there's something ongoing regarding siblings or a sibling, maybe at a distance. Um, and again, you have this feeling of a power play between a sibling. But this is a trine, it is a soft aspect. Um, it is an embalming aspect. However, it's also Jupiter, and it does expand things. Um, because then we also have Chiron in Aries squaring Mars in Cancer, but I'll discuss that with the next day aspect as it becomes, uh, oh my God, what's that word? As it perfects the square. So the next day, midweek, next week, Mars in Cancer will square Chiron in Aries. And Mars is in your sign, Cancer. So this is about your image, about how you are seen, how you are portrayed, your profile. And square is a hard aspect. So there's a tense aspect regarding your image that brings up an old wound or a hurt um, regarding your 10th house of career, status, reputation, and authority figures. Um, and it might have to do with this ongoing thing. Sorry, that's my pug. With a sibling. Uh, so just keep that in mind. Um, as well, the moon enters Pisces, and again, I'm mentioning this here because it's important as Venus retrograde in Aries is at about to change, slip into Pisces because it's at 0 0 here, and as soon as it retrogrades into Pisces, we have Venus retrograding, conjuncting Neptune in Pisces at that very critical 29 degrees. Um, so we have the Moon, Venus retrograde, all conjuncting Neptune and the North Node in Pisces at the very critical 29 degrees. And Mercury the next day will catch up with this conjunction. So this is pretty powerful. Um, this is this is about us going back to something that we know is some sort of a slippery slope, going back to something that we know will not work, uh, that we know is a air quotes bad situation. So why are we doing it? Because there is a compelling reason that we are not aware of as of yet. Um, I'm coming up to the 30-minute mark, so I'm just gonna uh, stop this and start a new 30-minute session. Okay, so yes, um, why we're doing it because there is a compelling reason for us to go back. There's two things going on here. One is that, like I mentioned, we're going back to something because there is something or someone or maybe a group, maybe parents, maybe family, maybe children, maybe even partners um, that need that need us, and we are going back to this. Why? Because the old world is being demolished. The old era is being swept away. There is uh, a collapse, and we are being called back, um, not necessarily to fix it because there's nothing to fix. It is done. This old era is finished, but we're going back to be immersed in it as it will give us this healing sense, this compassionate sense of forgiveness. So we there might be a component of it that needs saving, and we're stepping back into that to save it. And it might be just temporary, as it is temporary, because the new is on our doorsteps. And I'll explain that with the next aspect. But and the second thing about this going back is it is also again a movie trailer of the latter half of the year when all these planets will retrograde back into the previous signs, except for Jupiter and Mars. Um, so, yes, but I just don't want you to think that you're going back uh, to something and missing out on the new. That's not happening. Like I said, there is nothing to go back to. It is just that important part that we need to be immersed in again. And as Venus and Mercury start going direct in Pisces, that is when we are able to release, okay, and forgive both ourselves and others. And when it's Venus and Mercury starts going into direct into Aries, then that is when we realize that we cannot be small again. We cannot be insignificant again. because it is a new era, and we just don't fit in those old shoes anymore. Um, so yeah, so that's one scenario of how it fits. Okay, and then right after the moon enters Aries, again, I don't discuss. I'm not discussing the moon, but this moon is special as it will be the next day a new moon partial solar eclipse in Aries. So Cancer, you have uh, a new opportunity that actually you have been aware of, but you might have forgotten and become busy uh, um, as it presents itself at the end of the month. And it might take you by surprise as it is semi squaring Uranus in Taurus. Uh, and it might take you by surprise again because you have been so busy with this back and forth with Pluto and Aquarius and all this Pisces stuff. So it is a new opportunity that is knocking at your door as you are busy with something else, and you're like, oh yes, let's go. um, and even when it takes you by surprise, don't have the feeling like, oh my god, I'm not going to be ready for this. No, you are going to be ready, but the thing and the thing is it's an eclipse, so it's an unfolding new opportunity that you will have full advantage of a few months down the line. uh, as I've mentioned before, eclipses are like a movie trailer of what will play out in the next 3 to 6 months. And this is a new opportunity that will accelerate in size and speed in the next 3 to 6 months. But it is coming with like abruptly, or it seems abrupt because you may have forgotten about it. Um, Mercury also retrograde will conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So rethinking, recommunicating, renegotiating again at those critical 29 degrees about going back to something in the past. Sorry. Um, to save it from some type of a destruction, some type of a collapse. Because you can see it in the outer world. If you get confused about things, just look at the news with what's going on with our government, like dismantling of all these old structures that are no longer relevant in this new era, uh, that are bloated or wasteful or what have you. But then there has been a couple of reversals where a part of it, they rehire some people or save one part of that structure. And that's how it plays out in our own lives. Okay. We're going back to, because we don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, is what I'm trying to say. So hopefully that makes sense. Or, it could be complete confusion. um, because it is Neptune and Pisces after all. Excuse me, because I'm confused right now. No, I'm joking. I'm just toying with you. You're actually a water sign, so you're quite sensitive and very intuitive, just as a Pisces is. So you'll know what this going back to is about. And again, it's temporary and it might be a component. Uh, then, Tom, at the end of the month, on the 30th, Neptune does enter Aries. And again, it is Neptune, even though Aries is a fire sign, but it's Neptune. So it's not going to be like trumpets blaring and, a huge red carpet. It won't be that obvious. Uh, it might be just something ethereal that happens. But it is, for you, it is something of a longing or a desire of how you want to be seen as far as your status, your reputation, and among authority figures. So it's an important house for you, and you will start this journey, but it will feel very romantic, very idealistic as well. And that's how the month ends, Cancer. I might be doing a standalone video just on the solar eclipse, just to go into a little bit more depth if I have the time, and if I do, that will be uploaded next week towards the ending before your April scopes. If you have any questions, I answer all questions, as well as, because there's so much Pisces stuff, and at that critical 29th degree, it is heightened. A lot of you may be having vivid dreams or maybe confusing dreams, and I do interpret dreams. So you're welcome to put those in the comments. We'd all be curious, and I'd love to interpret those for you. All right, take care. Hi, Leo. Okay, Leo, what I'm doing with this scope is just concentrating on a few major aspects this week and next, uh, as they are very important. And I have discussed them in your March scope, but you might, because there's so much things going on, you might have forgotten them, and may be adding some stuff that will help you maybe explain if you had any confusion about them in your March scope. So what I'll be doing is, the other thing is, I don't want you to get fixated on the dates, because it is not about that day, that hour, that minute, regarding those aspects. You might have already felt this way before, or you'll feel it throughout the whole week and definitely in the future, because these are major aspects I'm discussing. And we do have two important planets retrograde. So going forward, when they go forward again, you'll be feeling this in the future. All right. So no intro, just jumping right into it. Uh, and in the beginning of the week, we had Mercury that was retrograde in Aries, which semi squared Uranus in Taurus. And Aries for you, Leo, is your ninth house of higher education, foreigners, long distance travel, philosophy, publishing, and the World Wide Web. All right. So uh, you have been busy with either a component of in this area, or maybe a few components of this area. And if you are a student, it makes perfect sense that you are preparing something here. You're busy with something here. um, and then Taurus for you is your 10th house of career, status, reputation, and authority figures. So discussions, rediscussions, recommunications, renegotiations, and rethinking about your ninth house, that that is semi-squaring. It is a hard aspect, but it's a quick aspect. It's a fleeting aspect, but it is a tense aspect in regards to your career and your status, or an authority figure. Um, so you may be what's happening here is you may be contemplating of, um, again, if it's higher education, you may be wanting to get a new certification, or maybe get a new degree in order to jettison your career and status, in some way. Or in as far as publishing, maybe you're into publishing, but there's some kind of a shock or a surprise in this mix. And Taurus also natally rules the second house of job, income, and value system. So that is also at play here. Um, maybe maybe investing in this ninth house also will set your value systems up a notch. In any case, you know what discussions are being rehashed regarding that. But I just wanted to make you aware, because that's an important. This aspect is actually this week pointing to June, May, June. Um, okay, and then the next important thing that happens is really midweek. And again, don't fixate on the date, but I'm just mentioning it because it helps me go with my chronological order. The Sun will conjunct Neptune at the very critical 29-degree ending of Neptune in Pisces. Okay, um, and this conjunction can be a good aspect, but it is a heavy-duty one here, because it's the Sun is involved, and Neptune is an outer planet that exacts change, slow grinding change, and it is at the very critical ending degree. So this can translate into some type of a struggle between the ethereal and the real, between of having faith still in the face of facts when facts say otherwise. It is your dreams and wishes versus being sensible or sensibility, and which do you pursue? That's my plug. Sorry, and which you pursue is where you are at life. Uh, it depends on where you are at life. If you're going to hang on to that last strand of hope, again, it's at the 29th degree, at the ending degree, or if you chalk it up and say a lesson well learned, and you go with a sensible way. I'll just let you know that for the most part, um, we do feel like if we don't pursue that faith, that last hope, we always are left wondering. And as well, it is at the 11th hour, that when we give up, something magically happens. So I'm translating it into that way. And then we have the sun entering Aries. Excuse me. Oh, so sorry. Again, Aries is your ninth house, and again, you have been thinking, you have been attracting things here, but here with the sun entering Aries, it is also the spring equinox. And this is a very, very important spring equinox. It is like, um, it isn't like the past where you reinvented something regarding your ninth house as the outer planets were affecting other areas of your life and you might have had obstacles or issues. So you look to your Aries related house to reinvent it as the sun every year goes into Aries around this time and it comes up for review and tweaking. This time it is the start of a new era, um, start of a fiery new era, a fiery new spring, fresh new fiery beginning. The old era has ended. And that's what the sun is heralding, um, this very new, um, unexperienced new era here. Um, and then what we have is Venus retrograde in Aries. So Venus, also, I'm sorry, as the sun enters Aries and it's the spring equinox, also Venus stations retrograde. So pay attention to these few days, as whenever a planet stations retrograde or direct, you do get some kind of synchronicity or veil is lifted. And sometimes you do get a clue about what this is all about or what that certain aspect is about. Now, after that, Venus retrograde in Aries will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is your seventh house, Leo, of partners, be it personal, business, or platonic, or anyone who really knows you really, really well that can hold up a mirror to you would be considered a partner. So your sister can be a partner, your son can be a partner, your even grandchild can be a partner in some aspect. So your partners are powerful people, Leo, because it's Pluto. And with Venus retrograde in your 10th house, in your ninth house of philosophy, higher education, and foreigners, this might be somebody from the past that may be foreign to you, um, that is being a partner. Uh, because Venus retrograde does bring people back. Or it can be about your, again, Venus is about desire. So it can be your inner desire regarding your ninth house that is being supported by a partner, or maybe several partners. Like I mentioned, it might be a personal partner and a business partner, or what have you, because it's Aquarius, and Aquarius natally rules like groups of people. That's why I'm mentioning it that way. Um, but whatever you're signing up for, or you're trying to make an agreement about, or materialize this desire regarding your ninth house, uh, let this retrograde play out. Because if Venus direct attracts money, love, fame, fortune, and things like that, Venus retrograde, um, in most instances, retracts those. So if you are considering some type of an agreement in this house, and it's being aspected by Pluto and Aquarius, it might turn into, for a lack of better words, ugly, regarding a power struggle or a control issue. And you are already experiencing this with partners, these control issues, these power dynamics. And it is not a reflection of you, because you are ruled by the sun. So you have, you're very compassionate, not because you're a pushover, but because you have extreme confidence. So it really is about this partner who's going through maybe a power trip, or maybe um, trying to figure out that. And I'm just taking extra time because I know maybe over half of Leos are going through some type of a controlling partner or a powerful partner. And there will be a release, because the universe will not have it. And Aquarius doesn't like any controlling aspects. In any case, moving on. On Then we have Venus retrograde in Aries that will be Kazimi, and Kazimi simply means the heart of the sun. So this is shining a light on your inner desires regarding your ninth house. Also, we do have a last quarter moon in Capricorn. And Capricorn for you, Leo, is your sixth house of health, habits, routine, scheduling, taking care of someone, small pets. It is about that balance. And you are already a guru here because you've gone through a lot with that. And I will not bore you with repetitive things that I've mentioned ad nauseum. But this last quarter moon is recalling the new moon in Capricorn that we had on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So you had either a new opportunity or you seeded the hopes of something regarding this sixth house. And here with the last quarter moon, it is the next step to a culmination, an ending, and the culmination and ending or the fruition comes with the full moon. But this is the very next step before that. So it can translate into you having toiled and taken a lot of time and energy in setting up something that's workable, that's equitable, that satisfies here two parties. So it might be between you and a boss if it's about your job schedule, or it might be between you and a medical official, a health official, a doctor, a therapist, or you maybe and maybe the dog walker because it is the house of small pets as well. But Capricorn also rules the government and government structures, the old um, family traditions, and the climbing of the social ladder. So that somehow is involved here. But whatever it is, um, here with this last quarter moon, it is about some equitable resolution where both sides sacrifice to gain freedom, to gain relief of some sort. A very small price to pay to have relief and release, and you will be getting that. And then we have this time the sun in Aries, sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. And this, even though it's sextile, it's a supportive aspect, but it is the sun. The sun is powerful, and so is Pluto. Um, and again, it's about power and untapped potential. Because Pluto is about the underworld and the riches of the underworld. So think of gold and minerals, diamonds, even seeds being planted in the underworld and growing to being strong trees or valuable nutrition. Uh, so the sun is highlighting something about your ninth house that will be supported um, through a partner. But just again, uh, Venus is still retrograde, so don't make any final decisions. Let the retrograde play out. Then we have Mercury retrograde in Aries, that is Cazimi. So the Mercury catches up with Venus. So now it's retrograde, so it's renegotiating, rethinking about your desires regarding your ninth house. And the next most important aspect starts again midweek next week. We have several aspects, and I'll go through them before I explain them. So we have um, Mars in Cancer that will square Chiron in Aries. Cancer for you is your 12th hidden house. It is the house of the past. It is the house of the psyche, of taking care of someone, of confining spaces, um, about faith and spirituality. And it is also about creativity as well. Uh, and then we have Venus retrograde in Aries at 00 degrees, quite important, as the very next day it goes back into Pisces and conjuncts Neptune at that very critical degree. And Venus is retrograde here. Um, so we have the moon, we have, because the moon will enter Pisces, then we have Venus retrograde and the North Node, and they're all conjuncting Neptune at that very critical 29th degree. All right, Leo. So what this is about your. Did I make? I'm sorry. I'm just checking a note really quick. Okay. So Leo, Pisces is your eighth house of joint finances, intimacy, uh, inheritance, taxes, government benefits, credits, loans, the taboo. It is also about transformation, um, and all that. It is your money. It is also the house where you benefit from other people's money, and it is how other people value you, as opposed to your second house of how you value yourself. So what this is suggesting is that you're being compelled to go back to a situation regarding um, your eighth house. Um, and you don't want to do that. Let's just put it that way. You do want freedom of that, of those restrictions, because you've been having these restrictions for the past 2 years, as well as, it's Neptune. You have had confusions about this, but there is a situation where we are not aware of yet that will come up that compels us to go back to a previous situation that we know was, air quotes, bad, for lack of a better word, um, or to going back to someone that we know is no good. But there is a reason here, and it is not going back to the old world and staying there, because there is no old world. The old era has ended, and it is all about this new structure, this new way of doing things, as I mentioned with the Virgo eclipse last week. But it's something of saving something from the past, helping someone that is important. It might be a partner, it might be a child, it might be a parent, it might be um, someone very special, um, that you're being made aware of, that you need to step back here and help out. And um, I'm just being quiet because it's your eighth house, so there can be things that, well, it is, there is this destruction, but there's a rebirth, something ending, a finale of sorts, but there's compassion. There's a feeling of not feeling sorry, but feeling compassion, where you can forgive yourself and forgive others. And you need to be immersed into it, not from afar. So it might be a temporary situation, or we're going back to a component that needs to be saving, or something like that. But the universe is giving us that door to walk back through. And sometimes we have to take a step back to go two steps forward. And that's okay too. Um, but when you do go back, you will realize when Mercury and Venus starts going direct that you are not able to make yourself small again in that atmosphere. That world is just, it doesn't fit you anymore. uh, but it is worth your time and your effort because it's something important. The second thing it denotes is, this is again a movie trailer of what will play out in the latter half of the year, as all these planets will retrograde back in the previous signs, except for Jupiter. So yeah, so we will be getting this picture of the future. Very important. Yes, very important. And then we have the moon entering Aries. Um, as the next day, this new moon will be a new moon partial solar eclipse in Aries. So there is a very fresh, new, um, exhilarating opportunity regarding your ninth house. This is actually very nice for you, Leo, because the ninth house is also a very, very hopeful house, and it is Aries for you. So it meshes really well with your fire. It's a fire sign. It's your fellow fire sign, and it's very exhilarating. As you may have been not lonely, but being alone somehow, or not being heard. So this is quite exciting for you. I'm coming up at the 30-minute mark, so I have to stop it and start a new 30 minutes. Okay. Not that I'm going to use the full 30 minutes because I'm coming to the end. Uh, but yeah, so it is a very nice, hopeful new opportunity. And like I said, Venus is still retrograde here, so take your time. Do not make any permanent decisions until Venus gets through her retrograde. And don't worry about like, oh, but this is, you said it's this exhilarating new fresh opportunity, because this is an eclipse. It's an unfolding story. It is not happening on that day of the eclipse. uh, it will play out in the next 3 to 6 months. See, the universe knows what it's doing. um, but yeah, the eclipse is like a movie trailer of what will play out. And it is a new opportunity here, a much needed new opportunity. Um, and it is about Aries, so there's independence as well as freedom wrapped up all into this. Then the next day we have Neptune entering Aries at 00 degrees and 1 minute. Ta-da! The very much um, awaited new era, new fiery era. Um, and it's Neptune, it's water. I mean, I know Aries is a fire sign, but it's not something of like trumpets being blown and red carpets being rolled. I mean, it's not uh, as noticeable or significant in that sense. For some people it may be, but for others it may just be like, all right, nothing tingled, nothing poked, nothing, I didn't feel it. What are you talking about? It is the beginning of an era. It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll feel it. You will be feeling it in the coming days, weeks, and months, and certainly years. Um, and that is the end of the month, Leo. My dear friends, I may, if I have time, uh, uh, do a standalone video on the solar eclipse in Aries, because there's, a little bit more entailed, but believe me, you've gotten the full story. But I may do a standalone because that's an important eclipse, a new beginning. If I don't get embroiled with your with your April forecast, because next week can get busy for me. All right, Leo, if you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the comments. I answer all questions, and also your dreams may be heightened here with Neptune transgressing this very last important degree. So you might have very vivid dreams or confusing dreams, and I do interpret dreams. So we may have fun with this for you, me, and others to hear about it. Uh, um, I'd be excited to interpret them. All right, so I will talk to you soon. Hi, Virgo. Okay, Virgo. What I'm doing here is the last 2 weeks of March. There's some very important major aspects that are going on that I have actually already discussed in your March scope, but I mentioned in last week's scope and also in the March scope that I will be doing a mid month to end of the month, as there is a lot going on this month, and you might get a reminder or a refresher, so it can be at the top of mind. Or I might say something that I might not have said, and you might find that useful. So, what I'm going to be doing is just a couple or maybe three major aspects this week, and maybe three, four major aspects next week. And the only thing is, I do not want you getting fixated on the day or the date, because it is not about the day, the hour, the minute with these major aspects. You might have already been feeling it way before, or you'll feel it through the whole week, and definitely in the future. It will reverberate, as we also have two important planets retrograde, and we will be going direct over these same degrees. So, yeah, I'm trying to focus more on the aspect rather than the day. I might mention the date, just it just helps me with my chronological setup. All right, so with that in mind, the week has started off with Mercury retrograde in Aries, that is semi squaring Uranus in Taurus. And that's my pug, sorry. Uh, and I just drew a blank. I'm sorry about that. So Aries is your eighth house. Maybe I should start this over, but I don't want to re-record again. So Aries is your eighth house of joint finances, of intimacy, of inheritance, taxes, credits, loans, government benefits, of the past, of taboo, of secrets. And you have been busy here, um, as far back as February and this month. You have been uh, setting something up here, um, or trying to fix an obstacle or an issue. And with the semi square to Uranus in Taurus, a square is a hard aspect, but it's a semi square, so it's a quick hard aspect. But there may be some kind of a surprise or a shock um, regarding your Taurus related house. So your ninth house of foreigners, higher education, long distance travel, the World Wide Web, or publishing. And also, Taurus rules um, natally the second house of job and income and value system. So this is all in the mix somehow. Um, so that's, yeah, you're trying to, um, there's a desire regarding your eighth house, and there might have been a discussion where it was surprising, um, but it might have been tense, and it's about money and values. All right, let's move on. I don't know why I like. I know. Anyway, midweek Wednesday. Again, don't concentrate on the date, but what happens here is the Sun will conjunct Neptune at the very critical 29 degrees. So um, this is a very important aspect. Let alone it being at the very critical 29 degrees, it is also the Sun. It's a powerful planet. So it is feelings of nostalgia, of old things coming to a close. But with this conjunction with the Sun, there's some type of a struggle uh, of faith versus facts, or having faith in the face of facts, of pursuing your hopes, dreams, and your wishes, or being sensible about the ethereal versus the real. It is that type of a struggle. And it really depends on where you are in life, of how you will choose. But just to know that um, with wishes, with a longing, if it is not pursued to that 11th hour, that final spring, there will always be a question: what if? And uh, but again, it is a personal choice with each Virgo, with each other sign, because this will be for other signs as well. Um, and it is where you are at life. Uh, but also to think of that, uh, usually at the 11th hour, when we just give up, or say, okay, well, that is what it was. It is what it is. And then magically something happens. So there's those two sides of the story. And that's how the Sun conjuncting Neptune and the critical 29th degree may play out. We also have the Sun entering Aries, and it is um, the spring equinox at this time. Uh, so there is a brand new opportunity, a brand new era that is being heralded here. The old world and the old era, the Sun is illuminating that it is over, it is coming to a close. And this will be a brand new, reinvigorated, fiery, long awaited spring equinox, like none other, like none before it. Uh, because before it, we had the other planets, the outer planets, doing other things, excuse me. And we, every year during the spring equinox, we started out with a hopeful new year, in as far as whatever issue or obstacle we were having with other areas of our lives that the outer planets were aspecting, and we tried to, you know, uh, reinvigorate this area of our life. But this year, it is doubly reinvigorated. As it is, the outer planets are also changing signs into new areas. So it is really a brand new, fresh start. We are leaving the old and entering the new, and the Sun is heralding that ahead of a lot of things, ahead of Neptune entering Aries. On the same day, though, Venus will station retrograde in Aries. So, one, pay attention to whenever a planet stations direct or retrograde, because there might be some synchronicities happening, or you may get a peek behind the veil to know what this retrograde is about. Uh, but is also reviewing a desire. Venus is about desire, reviewing a desire about our Aries related house, and for you, it is your eighth house. We also have Venus retrograde in Aries that will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. And Aquarius is your sixth house of health, habits, routine, scheduling, rituals, small pets, taking care of someone. It's your house of chaos and gossip. Um, and Aquarius is a future oriented sign. So you have been working on something here regarding your health and habits or your routine and your scheduling, and you have been making progress. But here with Venus retrograde in Aries, so you're reviewing something about your a desire you have about your eighth house, and it is being supported by your Aquarius related house. However, it is also Pluto, so it is about power play or control, and Venus is also retrograde, so it can translate to like um, your hidden potential um, of power that may be related to your organizational skills, you're taking care of someone, your service, because you are the sign of service that will lend a supportive aspect to your eighth house. So maybe it's about dotting the i's and crossing the t's of whatever's going on. But just if there is some type of a commitment that's being asked of you here, let the retrograde play out before making any permanent decisions. Because it, like I mentioned, Venus is retrograding, and Pluto is about power and control and power plays. So just keep that at the back of your mind. All right, and then we have Venus retrograde in Aries Kazimi, and Kazimi simply means the heart of the sun. So you are reviewing your desire regarding your eighth house, um, but it is being the focus of the sun. The highlighting is how you feel inside about your desire about the eighth house. It is not shining a light for you and others to see. It is about the way you feel about it inside, and you're reviewing that. Okay. um, it can also be about an authority figure that just pops out for you. Now the same um, at the same time, we will have a last quarter moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is your fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, pets, and gambling. And yes, gambling can be casino gambling, but it can also be, the gamble you take on life. It is the house of fun, of lighthearted fun. It is not about commitment uh, and contractual love. That's the seventh house. This is the fifth house of true love, true romance. Um, And what this last quarter moon is about is regarding that new moon in Capricorn that we experienced on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So it was either a new opportunity then, or you seeded the hope of a new opportunity, of a new way of going about this. And with this last quarter moon, uh, it is the next step to a full moon. So it is the next step to an ending, to a culmination, to a fruition. So here you see the ending here of your past efforts. And what this is about, if we take it a little bit deeper, um, it can be this long standing issue, because remember, all of January we had a lot of Capricorn activity and it is still in the background. So it's this long standing issue that has taken up a lot of your time, a lot of your effort. As I will not go into that, we've discussed Pluto and Capricorn ad nauseum in many videos. So you know very much, you're an expert here. Uh, but it is coming to a close here. It is about an equitable agreement between you and another, or between you and maybe a lover and somebody else, or between you and a child and somebody else. But with 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 agreements, with equitable agreements, there's sacrifices on both sides, and this will be a small price to pay for a release, a relief, and a release. And that may make you all melancholy or feel like you know maybe I stepped on boundaries, maybe the other person is not getting uh, a lot. You may feel like this melancholy feeling about it, but it is again, it is part of the small price you pay for a final release and being free, not only you, but the other party. So it's a powerful um, a last quarter moon, as the full moon in Capricorn will be a doozy as well, but that's for another time. And it might have also something to do with maybe government, authority figures, tradition, maybe family, uh, because Capricorn rules that. So I just wanted to throw that in as well. Then now we have the sun in Aries. So it's illuminating something about your eighth house that will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. Again, power play uh, regarding a powerful figure, an authority figure, and it's about untapped potential here. So again, a lot of aspects to Pluto and Aquarius. So just be on top of your game regarding any health issues, any scheduling, anything regarding pets, maybe, or taking care of someone. Uh, and remember, let Venus get through that retrograde before making any final commitments regarding your eighth house. Um, and now, the beginning of next week, we have Mercury retrograde in Aries that is Kazimi. So now it is rethinking, renegotiating, um, rediscussing something very invigorating, something very new regarding your eighth house. And when I said ignore dates, this is the one exception. Do not ignore this date. So March 24th, Monday, because it is a 1 day deal. Um, like I mentioned in your March scopes, nothing coming that close to the sun can withstand the power of the sun. So that's why it fizzles out. It is a day. What I'm trying to say is it's a day aspect. Um, so um, take full advantage of it with whatever you're rethinking, you're rediscussing, renegotiating about your eighth house. And then the next thing, again, we have another aspect to Pluto and Aquarius. This time it's Mercury retrograde in Aries. Again, rethinking, rediscussing, renegotiating. Give yourself room and space here because it's Pluto. Um, and no, I'll discuss that later because it's exact on the next day. So, yeah, so midweek next week, we have Mars in Cancer, which is your 11th house of friends, groups, associations, memberships of any kind. It is also your house of your hopes, visions, and dreams of how you want to be seen amongst these groups or in the outer perimeter of your inner world. And it is squaring Chiron in Aries. So you've been busy here regarding, and Cancer also rules natally the home and family, and especially a mother figure, or your mother, or a patriarchal figure, or a female figure that's very important in your life. And you have been busy here since since last October, November, because Mars has been in this area of your life. Um, um, but here there is a very tense aspect, a square to that is triggering some kind of an old wound or hurt regarding your Aries related house. So something maybe about a friend that may be that you may consider family, or may remind you of your mother. Um, that is just bringing up this old wound, this hurt you have regarding maybe maybe your mother has passed away, God bless her soul, or maybe a friend that reminded you of your mother has passed away, uh, and it's just bringing up this wound about the past, about death or rebirth or something like that. Or it can be about a secret or a taboo or inheritance. In any case, I'm beating a dead horse. Sorry, I'll move on. Um, and then the moon enters Pisces. At the same time, Venus is retrograding in Aries at 00 degrees. Very important because the next day, Venus will retrograde back in Pisces and will conjunct Neptune at that critical 29th degrees. And then, yeah, on Friday, we have the moon, Venus retrograde, um, all conjuncting Neptune in Pisces at that very critical 29th degree. And then the very next day, Mercury joins in on this party. What a party! It's a very powerful party here. Um, and then we have the North Node in Pisces as well. So this is very, very important. And I'll tell you what this is about. Pisces is your seventh house of partners, intimate, personal, business, platonic. Anyone that really can hold up a mirror to you is considered a partner. And Venus retrograde might bring an intimate partner in the picture. Okay, so what? Going back to all these planets in Pisces, conjuncting Neptune at that critical 29th degree. What this is about is, excuse me. First of all, it's very romantic. It's very dreamy. It's very visionary about a longing, about a desire, and Neptune is obliging this with embalming things around us or people around us to accentuate this desire. And of course, keep in mind the other side of this is complete confusion about an illusion or a vision. On the negative side, it can also relate to being embattled, going to war, um, um, the possibility of a slippery slope of some kind. Because what it's doing two things. One is we are going back to something or someone, something that we know will not work out, or someone that we know was no good for us. Uh, it's a return to some like dysfunctional situation that is not going to resolve. Um, but but there but there's a compelling reason to do so. There is, I mean, nobody in their right mind would go to something like that, but uh, the universe is actually holding the door open for us to do this backtrack because there is something important there. Um, because someone important is back there that needs us or needs help because that old world has collapsed. It is being washed away, and we need. And it might be a temporary situation, or may be going back to a component of uh, that area of our life. And don't worry about it being of you completely leaving this fresh new opportunity and then going back to the old and being stuck there forever because there is nothing there left anymore for you to build. It is just going back to be immersed in that, to see the vulnerability and getting immersed. You have this compassion, you have this, then you are able to forgive, whether not whether to forgive yourself and others as well. And once Mercury and Venus starts going direct in Pisces, then you will realize that uh, you that that world does not suit you anymore, and it doesn't suit the other person because, like I said, that old world has collapsed. Uh, it has been washed away. A new world is being built, and we have to um, find a new way of living in this new world, which we already are on the verge of. That's one. The second thing is, remember, I said Mercury and Venus are giving, especially Venus, it's giving you a sneak peek of what'll happen with this retrograde in Pisces. Uh, what'll happen with the retrograde during the latter half of the year, when all these planets will go back into the previous signs. And again, it is about going back to a world, because here it's a preview. Like remember, I said it's a component and it's temporary. But the end of the year, um, this same thing, the same theme, the same story will play out, and we know it is temporary again at the end of the year, but there is a reason. And I don't want to get into explaining more because with these critical 29 degrees endings, as well as it's Neptune and Pisces, it is the house of faith and spirituality, and I just don't want to tread on any spiritual steps, as they say. Uh, but just to know that it is very important, and there is no other choice but to go back because there's something there, and it is with compassion, but it is temporary because it is about an ending. Something is ending. Okay, I've beaten that dead horse. No pun intended, please. Also, the moon enters Aries, and this moon the next day will become a new moon partial solar eclipse in Aries. So there is a brand new, very invigorating, very fresh, um, very synergetic opportunity regarding your eighth house, Virgo, that it will play out. Remember, eclipses are an unfolding story, a story that will play out in certain chapters. And this solar eclipse is about a new opportunity that will gather steam and grow in size um, at the end of 3 to 6 months into those two stages. So, a very nice opportunity regarding your eighth house. And again, we have Mercury and Venus going back and forth. So there's some obstacles, some paperwork that have to be taken care of before this new opportunity becomes, you know, um, becomes real. And remember, eclipses are something of a movie trailer of what will play out. Uh, and and then it also semi squares Uranus and Taurus. So what that translates to is this new opportunity will actually be right at our doorsteps when we least expect it. And it has been in the background. You might have been working on it, or others might have been working on it for you or with you. But because there's so much going on, you might have forgotten about it. And that's why you're being surprised here with it being right there when you least expect it, because it is Uranus, and Uranus is the planet of shock and surprise. Um, and that's how the month ends, Virgo, as the next day Neptune will enter Aries at 00 degrees 01 minutes. So a brand new era regarding your eighth house and how you will be getting um, going along that journey. And it will feel very dreamy and like a vacation. All right, so that is the ending of that. And I may do a standalone video on just the solar eclipse in Aries because there's a little bit more going on with that. And if I have enough time, because I have to prepare also your April horoscope. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll answer them. And also, because it's Neptune and Pisces and the 29th degree, your dreams may be very vivid or very confusing. And I do interpret dreams. You can also throw those in the comments. I'd love to, we can both have fun with interpreting dreams. So that is it. I will talk to you soon.